My name is Christina.
My name is Cole.
My name is Spencer.
My name is Christina.
What would you say if I told you that there is really only one ocean on the earth?
I would say that there is 5 oceans on the earth.
No, there is really only one ocean, but it is divided into smaller oceans by the 7 continents.
So what are the 5 oceans?
Antarctic,
Arctic.
Atlantic,
Indian and Pacific.
The oceans consist of seawater, salt water.
Minerals from rocks dissolve in the ocean and make it salty.
Oceans play an important role in nature's water cycle.
The sun's heat turns some seawater into an invisible gas called vapor.
the water vapor rises into the air.
When the water vapor touches the cold air, it condenses into tiny drops of water.
When the tiny drops of water join together, they form clouds.
When the clouds fill up with enough water, the water must fall down into land.
When the water falls down from the clouds, it is called precipitation.
Precipitation can fall in the form of raindrops, hailstones, or snowflakes, depending on the temperature.
No matter where the precipitation falls, some of it eventually makes its way back to the ocean.
What makes waves in the ocean? The wind makes waves.
The wind blows across the surface of the ocean.
The wind makes the water move.
The ocean water eventually heads towards the sandy shore.
When the moving water meets the shore, the water runs further up the shore and makes waves crash on the shore.
The stronger the wind is in the ocean, the bigger the waves will be when they hit the shore.
Does the wind cause a gigantic wave, like a tsunami?
Not exactly.
Earthquakes or volcanic eruptions that affect the ocean floor can cause a tsunami. A huge tsunami is a huge wave. A tsunami is a huge wave that can cause a horrible damage.
What about creatures that live in the ocean? How do they live? Ocean animals have adapted well to life in their habitat.
First, there are many different types of shellfish.
Many shellfish live in the right water's edge on the beach.
They bury themselves in the sand. When the tide goes out, when the tide comes back in, they can get all the food they need from the water itself.
That's amazing. I never knew that salt water has food in it.
There are also the birds. Birds live all around the ocean, and you find most of them near the water's edge.
Birds love to eat some of the animals that bury themselves in the sand and the mud at the water's edge.
Many ocean birds have adapted to their habitat by growing very long beaks for digging in the mud. When different animals rely on each other to survive, it's called an ecosystem.
What about the way out in the ocean?
Some of the most important living creatures and plants in the ocean are also the smallest.
Sometimes these animals and plants are so small they can only be seen through a microscope.
These tiny plants and animals are called plankton.
There are 2 types of plankton.
Zooplankton consists of little animals that whales eat.
One whale can eat up to 4 tons of zooplankton in a day.
Phytoplankton consists of little plants.
All kinds of ocean animals eat this plankton.
Without plankton, most animals in the ocean would eventually starve.
A dolphin doesn't eat plankton, but it eats other animals that eat other animals, and so on and so on.
When you follow that chain, one of those animals needs to eat plankton to survive.
If there isn't any plankton, that animal will starve. Then the animal that eats it will starve, and so on and so on.
That's what we call a food chain. There are many food chains in the ecosystem of the ocean.
We all need to learn more about the ocean and its ecosystem to help protect the life that lives there.
Alright, so our grade is all about oceans.
Our climate graph shows the temperature in the ocean ranges from 0 to 20 degrees Celsius, and the average rainfall is 30 to 65 millimeters.
That's the maps of the ocean, and the sun gives energy to the phytoplankton, and then the zooplankton eats the plankton, and then the small fish eats the zooplankton, and then the large fish eats the small fish, and then the marine mammals eats the large fish.
And some of the animals in our biome is rainbow trout, sea crab, sea turtle, sea snake, and dolphin.
And some of the plants in our ocean are sea kelp, coral, seagrass, seaweed, tube sponge.
And here's some fun facts about the ocean. 70% of the Earth is filled with the oceans. Ocean tides are caused by the Earth rotating while the moon and the sun's gravitational pull acts on ocean waters. 94% of life on Earth is aquatic. Up to 10,000 eels live every 5 square miles of the ocean. There are 5 oceans in the world.
Oil drilling. Humans can have huge impacts on the ocean. One of these impacts humans can have on the ocean and ocean life is oil drilling. Humans oil drill for transportation uses and to keep things running. Although we use this oil to help ourselves, it destroys our oceans. Between 3 and 6 million tons of oil are discharged into the ocean every year. That is 4 football stadiums filled to the top with oil. In the last 10 years, 45 million tons of oil have been put into the oceans. In return, these effects kill our sea life and cause species underwater to become extinct. And this is also destroying the ocean's atmosphere. Oil drilling is not good for oceans.
Ocean pollution. Pollution is a major problem in the ocean. It is affecting everything that lives there. Oil spills, toxic waste, and dumping other harmful things kills fish, and it even hurts people too. In the 1970s, 17 million tons of waste was legally dumped into the oceans. This number was reduced down to 8 million tons in the 1980s, but still contains acids, metals, and coal ash. Cars pollute the ocean when the car is driven because the exhaust coming out the back goes up into the clouds. And when it rains, the water gets polluted and harms a lot of fish. When you are boating, gas and oil is released from the engines and eventually kills many different kinds of sea life. In addition to boating, pesticides from farms run off into the ocean water, and that kills a lot of different fish too. Pollution affects our resources and adds to the many harmful effects. Pollution is a bad thing in our oceans and is getting worse. That is some reasons why pollution is bad to the environment.
My paragraph is about the harm of humans hunting, fishing, and killing all the creatures of the sea. Commercial fishing is a major enterprise in the Gulf and other oceans. What happens when a giant fishing boat goes by? It leaves all sorts of destruction. It leaves behind all sorts of oil and fumes. But not only that, the boats are out there for a reason. They want their fish, lobster, sharks, and even swordfish. With fish, they catch thousands per hour, and lobsters are usually caught by the cageful. With Japanese shark vessels, they catch the sharks one at a time, cut all their fins off. There's shows on TV that they bring up the shark, they just cut off all the fins, toss the shark back in the ocean, and let them bleed to death. With swordfish, they catch one, bring it up, and toss it into the freezer below decks, usually bringing back thousands of them every day. If you total that up, it's about 8,640,000 fish per year from one ship, and about 5 million lobster from one ship, and 800 tons of shark fins, and 7,564,231 swordfish from one boat every year. Thanks for listening to my concerns.
Mercury pollution. People have affected the ocean biome with mercury pollution. Mercury pollution is a scary thing in the ocean because we end up eating it. Mercury pollution is expected to increase over 50% over the next 40 years. Sometimes it comes from coal plants. Mercury is absorbed by organisms on the bottom of the food chain. Did you know that as bigger fish eat bigger fish, it works its way up to the food chain right to us. Poisoning is mostly passed to us to the form of tuna. We can safely eat 12 ounces of fish a week, or about 2 portions. Bye, Christina.